What up, guys? Welcome to Harry Dating Combos. This is the show where you go to learn how to be your best dating self so you can get the women that you desire. So I hadn't planned to do a live today, but I got some intel this morning from somebody that's in my Get Girls Academy that they got a girlfriend. And it's because of my coaching and helping and being able to bounce stuff off of them. And so I thought it would be a good thing to talk about. And in the process of that, better explain to those that may be apprehensive about getting coaching or thinking that this is all a scam as to why it actually would benefit you to get coaching. So let's talk about that on today's episode of Harry Dating Combos. So this show, as always, is brought to you by my program called the Get Girls Academy. And this is an academy that houses all of my best programs about how to meet, greet, attract, land, and keep women. Everything you'd want to know, from how to do online dating to how to actually go from dating them to getting into a relationship, all the way up to how to better communicate with them, what kinds of things to look for that are red flags versus green flags, and a whole line of other various things that are in that program that will help you out immensely, from old podcasts to interviews that I've done with other dating experts. This is the end all be all. But in addition to that stuff, you also get more access to me, because for a monthly fee, you get access to all these programs, and you also get unlimited email access to me. So if you have a question of something you're going through when you're dating somebody, or you don't know something that's going on, or you just have general questions, you'll be able to get an answer and response from me within a relatively short amount of time. Now, if you're not part of the academy, you can always just write me and I'll answer it during one of these shows. But if you really want to get more in-depth answers and help you get to where you want to be with the women you're trying to date, then the unlimited emails is a feature of joining this membership that it can be very, very helpful, as you will find out about on today's program. So you can check that out at harrywilmington.com. Just go there. On the front page, you'll get to see everything that the Academy is about. And then if you decide that it works for you, we'd love to have you. It's a monthly fee and you can cancel anytime. All right. So, but with that said, I do want to go more into this today because I had a success story. And so there was a member of the Academy that had been dating this girl, and along the journey, there were missteps that happened. There were things along the way that maybe he didn't know what to do or what he should say next, or if she responded a certain way, he may not have known necessarily what that response meant. And so because he was in the academy, he was able to write me with his questions and say, hey, Harry, this is going on. I don't know why she did this. Am I making the right move here? I'm kind of nervous because I'm not reaching out, but I'm waiting for her to respond back. I don't know if she's going to, et cetera, et cetera. And so I got a message from him this morning, and I'm not going to completely dive into the specifics of the situation because he may not want that public, but he wrote me this morning basically saying, hey, this girl said that we were in a relationship. What's going on? And I was like, dude, you have a girlfriend. He's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much for your help. And I looked back at the correspondence that we had over the course of the last 2 months, because he was watching these shows and also asking me questions. But in the academy, he was able, like I said, to get quicker answers from me. And so it was interesting looking back on our correspondence at the things that I was able to coach him on that legitimately got him to where he now has a girlfriend. And I bring this up because in my line of work, when I go on YouTube and I watch obviously I have my content up, but I also watch other people's content. And in the comment section of other dating coaches' videos, I see the same thing time and time again, which is that date coaching is a scam. We're only out to do this for money. That guys should just find a woman that likes them for them, and that there's no need to be coached on dating and specifically because we should just be able to find somebody that likes us for us and that be a wrap, right? And it's interesting because there is almost no other part of life where people get criticized for being coaches and for getting coached except for dating. I think about things like, there's basketball coaches, there's football coaches, there are success coaches in business, there are coaches for people on how to do networking, how to cook. There's so many other areas of life where coaching is respected. And yet, when it comes to dating, suddenly it's, those coaches are scammers and they're manipulative and they're just trying to teach men to trick women into liking them. And yet, in my line of work, the most reward I get, because I mean, I have programs up that pay money, but the majority of my stuff is actually free, for one. And also, the joy I get is actually seeing that stuff I put out there into the world actually resulted in people being able to change themselves for the better and then find love. You know, I've been able to see people get married and find their long-lasting spouses off of the advice that I've given. And that wouldn't have come to them if I hadn't coached them in some way to figure out aspects of the dating game that maybe they didn't understand, you know? And so for those of you out there that are still skeptical about date coaching and about hiring somebody and what are they gonna do for me that I can't do for myself or that I can't find through a few YouTube videos, I wanna go over that today. I wanna go over 10 ways that coaches can actually help you to not only get the love life that you deserve, but to get it a lot faster. Because I have found, like even in my dating journey, I started to get better results as I started to read things and also, you know, get coaching and also like follow around guys that knew way more about women and dating than I did at the time, you know? And so I want to give that help to you. And also, if you guys want to learn more about the Get Girls Academy, as well as like the one-on-one coaching that I offer, you can go to harrywilmington.com to check that out. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this show, which is 10 reasons that you should seriously consider hiring a dating coach. So the first reason that you should consider hiring a dating coach or getting into my membership program, or even if it's not me, finding somebody that can guide you is very crucial to your dating journey. But anyway, the first reason you should consider hiring a dating coach is because they will be able to see your blind spots. So here's the reality, guy. You could be a great guy as far as you're concerned, and as far as you know, you're doing everything right, and yet you just can't figure out why women aren't gelling with you. And the reality is that people in general, but especially men when they're dating, you could be very unaware of certain habits or behaviors that you're doing that are causing women to be turned off. And again, for example, you might be a guy that, I do this example on the show all the time, where you're thinking, well, the girl likes me, so in order to be in her good graces, I need to text her all the time. And you're not aware that maybe you're texting too much. Maybe you're texting the kind of things that are overly sexually explicit or too flirtatious for where you're at in the dating journey. You could be doing a lot of misreads on when she's sending you things and you're thinking it means one thing, but it means another. And so that could very well be a blind spot that you're not privy to, you know? I know when I walk around just in LA, sometimes I'll walk next to a dude and he smells funny. And he's probably not aware that he has a certain body smell that's coming across that could be turning people off. So he meets a girl online, they gel well, everything seems to be going great, and then he goes out for one date, and he's not aware why she doesn't want to see him again, and it's because he smells weird, or because he had a wrinkly shirt on, and he's not able to see these things because just we all have blind spots to ourselves, you know? As much as we try to catch ourselves and our blind spots, it can be very hard to catch them if you're not having people point them out. And on dates in particularly, even if a woman notices something about you that's not pleasing, on that first and second date, she's not gonna call that out. She's not gonna say, hey, I noticed that your hair was unkempt, or you had a wrinkly shirt, or you smelled funny, or maybe you talk too fast, or you chew with your mouth open. Like, you're gonna be made aware of none of these things because women are just trying to be cordial, but that doesn't mean they're attracted to you. And so somebody like me comes along and I can have conversations with you. I can, email you back and forth. I can really kind of get an assessment of where you're at and what your actions are. I can hear you tell stories about previous girls that you tried dating and be able to point out, hey, maybe it's because you did this thing or said this thing or you did this action and I noticed that this is a repeated pattern. So maybe if you get rid of this thing and do this instead, then you can be helped. And so think about this, right? You could hire a coach that could point that out to you today, and you could stop doing whatever it is that's in your blind spot today. Or you could say, I'm gonna just keep dating how I date, and you can go the next 5, 10, 15 years losing women that would have dated you simply because of a blind spot that you weren't aware of, that if a dating coach pointed it out, it would be gone and you'd have more success. So that's a big reason why you as a guy should consider getting a date coach. So that's the first reason. The second reason you should consider hiring a dating coach is because they will be able to create a structure for your dating life. Most men in the dating world go into dating very haphazardly. They go into it thinking, okay, I don't know what I got to do, but I got to show up and I got to call and I got to do this and I got to take her here and I got to do whatever. And they don't know like where to do things, when to do things, the timing of to do things. They don't know if it's good to try to like bombard her with texting calls or to lay back and be patient. They don't know on what dates certain things should be happening versus not happening. They don't know when to bring up a feelings conversation or relationship conversation or if they should bring it up at all. There's a lot of ways that guys go into dating where it's just kind of like, I'm gonna just throw everything at the wall and hope that something sticks. And that is a very losing strategy. Now, my job as a dating coach is to come in and say, okay, I know the pathway to help you get from dating a woman to getting in a relationship in the span of 90 days. I can help you figure out what that looks like. I can help you along the way to say where we can make some course corrections. I can let you know how far along she is in the process versus what you're doing. And when you have that structure, you will start to notice that dating becomes a lot more effortless and it flows a lot smoother because you have that guidance. And I'm speaking as a guy that for the longest time did not have guidance on how dating worked. So I would just be like, well, it's been 2 dates. I think I should ask her for a relationship. And then I would wonder why girls, again, that would have worked out with me in the long run decided to get rid of me because it was too soon for them and I did not have that knowledge. So a dating coach is going to allow you, they can look at your specific life and say, okay, based on how your life is set up and based on what you're looking for, I'm going to put together a plan of action that, let's say you met a new girl, I can tell you with this new girl exactly how to move with her. So in the span of 2.5 to 3 months, she's going to come to you asking for a relationship. But if you don't have that structure, and more importantly, you don't know that that kind of structure can even exist, then yeah, you're gonna lose out on a lot of women. So if you have a coach come along and point that out to you, then you're gonna get a lot more success. And you're gonna actually save money in the long run because I get it, people think hiring a dating coach is gonna cost all this money. You have to ask yourself, are you losing more money by going on dates with women that aren't interested or continuing to pay like a high price for high-end dates for women that aren't interested or that don't actually need you to do that? Or are you going after women that maybe have all these red flags, but you're lonely and so you think that you need to get her to date her regardless, or you're thinking, oh, she said she doesn't want to be played by guys, so after 3 dates, I gotta ask her to be my girlfriend so she knows I'm serious. Like, you're gonna lose money doing that. But if you spend the money to get it right the first time, then you have that skill set forever with any girl you come across, you know? So that's a consideration, is that you need structure in your dating life and a coach can help with that immensely. Let's see, the third reason why you should consider hiring a dating coach is to get feedback and progress reports. It is very hard to know if you're doing the right things or the wrong things just based off of a woman's reaction, you know? I'll give you an example with the guy that's in my Get Girls Academy that I was coaching. There were times where, you know, there was one point where he asked her for a date and she said she just wasn't feeling like going out that night. And he thought that meant that she just had no interest. And I had to tell this guy, like, no, like, we get that she canceled this one date, but listen to what she said. And then you can't just assume that one time means that she's completely over it. You gotta ask her out later and see if like it's a different day, she feels differently now. You don't know why she canceled. She said she had a hard day at work or whatever, or she's just feeling kind of blah. She could have been on a period. There could be infinite number of things. So don't blow this off quite yet. Like, let's give it a week or so and then hit her up again and ask her out again. And he did that, and lo and behold, she was ready for him to come over to her place. So with a dating coach, they can look at kind of like what you're doing and look at, okay, here's an assessment of where you're at. Here's where maybe you talked to her too much, you called her too much, or maybe you shouldn't have said this joke to her on the date, or maybe this thing you shouldn't have done over here. And then, oh, this actually was really good. This is why this girl responded positively to this because you did this, so keep doing that. Like, we can assess, okay, it's been like a month and a half, so this is where she's probably at. And so based on this progress, here's where you're gonna go next, you know? And so this is what coaches do, is they look at the landscape that you're providing for them and say, okay, you're doing these things, this is great, this is not so great, here's where you can improve. And then that in turn allow you to start to trust more the things that you're getting to do, because you're learning a lot of new stuff. And so having somebody there that can look at and assess how things are going with the new stuff you're doing is going to be very, very helpful, which actually leads into the next point, number 4, as to why you need to hire dating coaches, because we will be able to help you along when you are trying new things. So you're thinking to yourself, Harry, I don't need coaching. I can just go online and learn what I need to do. Okay, great. So for example, you go online and you learn, oh, you know what? Okay, I shouldn't be I shouldn't be talking to her about my feelings, right? And then she comes to you one day and says, hey, I just want you to know I had a real fun time on this date and I'm really getting to enjoy getting to know you so much. And now you're thinking, oh crap, like now she's talking about feelings. Is it okay for me to talk about feelings? And at this point, you're used to talking about feelings. You're used to, as soon as she starts talking about feelings, you're gonna talk about them too and tell her, oh yeah, I really like you so much and this and that. But in the past, you've done that and you've lost women. So now you're not sure if you should still do that thing. A dating coach would say, hey, if she starts talking to you about feelings, that's great. Don't bring your feelings up. And you're gonna think, I want her to, I don't want her to think I'm playing games. I want her to know. And so I would sit there and be like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, this is a new thing. I get it. You're used to spilling all your feelings out, but has that worked in the past? It has not. So this is just one time. If she comes to you and starts talking feelings, try to pare it back. Like, don't be like, because she said a nice thing, I gotta say a nice thing. Like, just try not doing that. And then walking you through that process, walking you through the feelings you're going to feel when you try these new things that you're trying out for the first time. And then also there's gonna be times where you try a thing and then maybe you don't get the result back right away that you were expecting her to give you. And then you're like, in your head, like, oh my God, I tried the new thing and she didn't respond back, or, I texted her and I didn't double text, but she's taking 12 hours to text me back, oh my God. And I can sit there and be like, totally normal, I get how you're feeling about that. But you know what? Instead of trying to double or triple text her, why don't you just leave it alone and see if she gets back to you? And sometimes when you're trying new things, you really do need somebody to walk you through that, who's already tried these things and have had success at it and can be your cheerleader as they're saying, hey, you're doing a great job, you're using new mental fortitude, but you gotta try this new thing because the old stuff wasn't working. And people need that. People need encouragement to try new stuff versus what we typically do as humans is if we start trying new things and it's not going the way we want quite yet, we start backpedaling into old habits. And even if they don't work, we do that because we're more comfortable with the older stuff that wasn't working because it's our comfort zone. And so coaches can help you break out of your comfort zone and be more bold in trying new things. You can try going at it alone, but I tried that where I was like, I'm gonna try new stuff. And then I would have to keep going back to people that I knew that were trying to help me out because it was like, I keep going back into old stuff because this new stuff, oh my God. So that's just a thing to consider, that coaches can help you get past the barrier of being afraid to try new things and to actually stick to them to see better results. Anyway, a fifth reason to consider getting a dating coach is because we are really good at assessing dating situations. The reality is that with women, understanding what they're doing emotionally or romantically, it can be very challenging at times. And so what we can do is we can take the things that a woman is doing. You tell us, hey, I noticed she said this thing, or she did this action with her body, or she told me about this thing and I wasn't prepared for that. Like, what's up with that? And we can take those and decode what's actually going on and then give you specific strategies when these things come up. So for example, like I said, in this guy's case, so the woman said she couldn't go on a date for a minute, and then he reached out. She asked for another date, but she said he was trying to do one kind of date and she wanted to do another kind of date, and he wasn't sure if he should accept that date because he didn't want to look like a simp, and also he was thinking but if she's changing up the things as she wants to do something that's more low key, that's a bad thing. And I had to point out to him, based on the kind of date she was suggesting, that she was actually trying to be more intimate with him. And that's not something he would have been able to see on his own, because in the past, maybe he didn't get this far with a woman to where he's not knowing what these new signs mean that she's throwing at him, And so coaches that have been through this and are successful are really great at saying, oh, she's doing that? That's nothing to worry about. Or, oh, she's doing that? Okay. You need to slow down a bit because she's not off the train yet, but if you keep going down this pathway, then it's gonna lead towards her doing these things and being less interested, And that's hard to see sometimes when you're just going at dating by yourself. The seventh reason you should consider hiring a dating coach is because we are really good at being able to highlight what's so great about you specifically, I think that coaches get a bad rep of we're trying to give any just generic advice and hope that works for you. But no, if you hire a coach, we're supposed to look at you and say, okay, you have these great qualities about you and you like doing these kind of things. And then these are things that you're really interested in. And these are ways you can improve. But we can take what your best qualities are and say, okay, we know you have these qualities. The problem could just be in translation. Maybe you're not the best at highlighting these qualities to women. So we're going to help you figure out a way to highlight these things in a way that's not seeming like you're bragging about it and that you're not overbearing, but that lets her see, oh, he actually is a really great guy. So, you might have some kind of talent that's great. You might have an interest in something that you're kind of nerdy about and you're afraid if you're too nerdy about it, women won't like you, or you could have some kind of special thing that you do. But either way, you may not know how to put that out there to women in a way that translates to them seeing you as such a good guy. And so if you're not able to do that, we as coaches have the skill set to be able to do that, And then even if you're in situations where maybe they're not ideal, maybe you're trying to build yourself up, but you still live with your parents, or you're trying to get a new job, but you're still currently in some other type of situation, we can even take those situations and say, okay, this may not be like a net positive, but how do you present these things to women in a way where they're not going to be turned off by the reality of your situation and they're still going to want to date you, And I've been able to do that with tons of guys who were in a variety of situations that maybe they weren't earning the most money, maybe they were in dire straits at the moment, but yet I've also been in that situation and I was able to still date women, and I bring that skill set over to men that are in similar situations to say, hey, you're still a great guy in spite of your situation, and obviously you're going to do the best to make your situation better, but even now, you can still get women by highlighting these other things, and here's how you do that, Anyway, the 8th reason you should consider hiring a dating coach is because we can provide clarity on materials that you've learned. So as part of the Get Girls Academy, there are a variety of programs in there, from my Smart Digital Dating course that teaches about how to do online dating to the Top Secret Dating Blueprint, which gives you the A through Z of how to go from meeting a woman to getting in a relationship. And so, but again, even without stuff in the academy, there may be other things you're learning outside of me that you're getting tips and strategies here, but you don't quite really understand what they mean or why they work or how to properly execute them, And so I, having been in this for 20 plus years now, could go to you and say, hey, so you learned this particular technique, you learned this particular way to communicate with women, but what does that actually look like in a real setting? Or with the girl that you're trying to date now, how is it that you can use this particular style of talking or this particular phrase or whatever to be able to get in her good graces? And so with coaches like me, we do that. You have materials that you're learning already on your own, but you need to figure out how to actually cater them to how you are and then get them out there in a real way to women. I, as a coach, can help you with that immensely, The 9th reason you should consider hiring a dating coach is because we can help boost your confidence through tailor-made strategies. The reality is that I got the most amount of dating confidence as I was able to start doing more things and then getting results and then getting more and more better results, And so sometimes it's just as simple as having somebody there to be able to help you along when there's setbacks, when there's rejections, to be able to say, hey, this is just a small marker on the road, but at the end of the day, you're going to still get to the finish line, be it with this girl or somebody else, but here's what we can do to really develop strategies that cater to you. Because I know the stuff that works for me, and there's a lot of stuff in my academy that I put out there that's really based on the results that I've gotten for myself, but also for other people. But I know that you coming into the dating academy, for example, you're a new entity. And so you may have things going on in your life that might be different from what I had to go through, but that doesn't mean that we can't sit down and really look at, okay, based on where your life's at, what can we structure to be able to make dating work for you in a way that's going to actually get your results, and then by proxy of that, be able to make you feel more confident and less anxious around women, because we want to boost your confidence to where you can do this with or without me. Like if you sign up, the nice thing about the Get Girls Academy, for example, is you can sign up, it's a month to month, and then you can cancel anytime. So if after 2 or 3 months, you're like, Harry, your coaching's been great, I've been able to get a lot of help through the email coaching, and it's been very appreciative, I think I got it on my own. I'll say, great, you know what, best of luck to you, and you can always come back if you need more help, I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions that you can get on the coaching tab at the website, but either way, the ultimate goal is to make sure that the strategies we develop are catered to you specifically, and that's going to help you boost your confidence in the long run, especially once you start seeing more success. And that only comes if you're getting a dating coach. And then the 10th reason that you should consider getting a dating coach is for accountability and motivation. The reality is that as you're starting to try to learn more things about dating, it is very, very easy to lose momentum. There's gonna be times where you're on a high and things are going great, and then there might be like 2 or 3 months where you're just going on date after date and it sucks and they're not connecting, the chemistry's not there, and you can start to be like, oh, it's not really working, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. Or you can start to lose track of what you're doing. You know, you're dating 1 or 2 women at a time and you're like, okay, I don't know where I am with this one or where I should be with that one or what's going on. And so a dating coach is designed to sit there and say, one, we're gonna keep on motivating you to keep going forward. Like with the guy that just got a girlfriend from my Get Girls Academy, there were times where he was just like, I don't know about this girl. I think I'm ready to throw in the towel. And it wasn't that she was necessarily doing the wrong stuff, but like, he was anxious. He was afraid maybe he was turning her off. He didn't want to go through a situation where he gets to the end of this and then he gets a surprise, I don't want to see you anymore from her, you know? And so I had to sit there and motivate him. I had to sit there and say, okay, what are we looking at? What have you been doing? What has she been doing? Okay, accountability. You got to take notice of maybe you did this thing wrong and that you should change it to do this over here instead to get better results. But like, yeah, we do that because there's going to be times when in your dating journey, you're down. You're not sure where to go next. You're not sure if anything you're doing is actually working. When you're trying new stuff, you're like, okay, I'm supposed to get this result, but it's been 2 weeks and I haven't gotten that yet. Does that mean I'm not going in the right direction? And you have a coach around that can say, hey, you're tripping. You're great where you're at right now. Things are going perfectly. Or, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to switch up your strategy a little bit and find another way to come at this at a different angle. Or maybe you just need a new girl altogether. But either way, we can be there to help you with that, you know? So those are the 10 main reasons why you need to have a dating coach. And then I'm gonna actually give a bonus reason, all right? Here's the reality. I have found personally in my life that the things I tend to follow through on are the things that I spend money on. Like, if I just get something for free, for example, like say I get like a video game for free, more often than not, I may finish that video game, but I'm not as incentivized to finish that game as I am if I pay 60 or 70 bucks for it, where it's like, I paid for this game, even though I just kind of halfway like it, I'm going to finish this game because I paid all this money for it. And I find that's true for like when I'm going to seminars and stuff. If I pay like next to nothing to go to a seminar, well, I can listen or not, it's no big deal, it's whatever. But if I pay like $300 or $400 to go to a seminar, I'm taking notes, I'm taking recordings, I'm doing video, I'm asking questions, I'm doing everything I can so I can get the max result. And that's the truth, is that most people aren't gonna follow through unless they're paying money. So yeah, I don't have a problem charging for coaching because I want you to get a result and I want you to value the result that you're getting. And oftentimes, the only way you're going to actually value that result is if you're paying. Now with the Get Girls Academy, you get unlimited email coaching access to me, which is great. It's a monthly fee. You can cancel anytime. But yeah, you write me today and within 24 hours, you're getting a response back. As you can see from the guy that got the girlfriend from my academy, he was writing me almost every day with questions and I would write him back. He'd write me about a scenario that happened on a date. And within 24 hours, I'd write him back to say, this is actually what this means. Here's what to do next. Here's what's going on with this girl. And so as a result of that, again, he's been a part of my academy for 3 months now. 2 months into the academy, he's got a girlfriend. So you can't say that coaching doesn't work because the reality is this guy needed somebody to help navigate, to help be able to see outside of him, to see what was actually going on and to get him out of his head when he got too nervous or anxious. And that is what coaching actually does, is that it gets you the clarity that you need. So even at times where you're nervous or not sure what's going on, you have somebody there to say, effectively, you're going in this direction, these are the things to do, and you're gonna succeed a lot greater as a result of following this, okay? So don't give too much flack to coaches out there. There are some scammers. I'm not gonna say there aren't people that don't scam people out of their money and aren't trying to just use people, but most coaches get into this, and most coaches start out not getting paid anything. They just know they see a need out there, they have something that they're good at, and they say, you know what, if I can help people with this need, then I will do that. And at some point in time, yeah, keep in mind, as much as you guys think you're gonna be paying for this, I've had to pay years for blood, sweat, and tears to learn all this stuff, to make all the mistakes, so that way I can help you not make those ones in a shorter amount of time, you know? But consider doing date coaching, consider going to a date coach if you're having trouble in your life. Whether, again, I'd love to say, if you wanna hire me for that, whether you get into the academy or you hire me for one-on-one coaching, I'd love to be a part of that journey. But if not me, find a way to get somebody to coach you, because it is the fastest way to get success in anything, especially in dating. So hopefully, guys, you like that little message. And now, with all that said, I will be happy to answer any questions you guys have during this time. I'm also going to talk about something else briefly that I want to touch on. But let's see what we got in the chat here. Somebody said, have you ever pulled a first date to an RV or a hotel room you have not checked into? In terms of like hooking up, I mean, I've had it where I've pulled girls and we did stuff in the car. So a room isn't a necessary barrier to have to get a hookup. It's more preferable because there's more room to do things, but yeah, it's not necessary. Like you if a girl's really hot and heavy for you, they will do it just about anywhere. That's the honest truth. And most guys aren't aware of that. Most guys think, I gotta set up and I gotta do a thing and whatever. And it's good if you had that. I always say, as a guy, you should be going on dates prepared for something to happen. Even if you think it's just the first date or second date, you'd be surprised at how much women are willing to do if you've made them feel the things they need to feel on a date, you know? So consider that. Consider that you may want to have some stuff set up, all right? Anyway, one other thing I wanted to talk about, I was going to do a show about this, so I guess I'll do it now and I'll cut it and edit it for its own separate piece. So I want to talk to you guys about dating women who are people pleasers. Because as much flack as women get for, oh, they just want a guy that's going to come along and do everything for them and use them and abuse them and blah, blah, blah. The reality is most women I find out there actually are the type of women that really want to do for their man. You know, most women are raised to not be too contentious, even though today there are more women that are contentious, but that's usually women from a single mother household. That's a whole different show altogether. But I found just in my dating journey that most women are actually more than willing to, no pun intended, like bend over backwards to please a guy, right? And so on one hand, you would think that's a positive, right? You want a girl that's gonna be go with the flow, that's gonna be willing to do things for you. You make a request of her, you ask her to do something, and she just does it, right? But I've also noticed that there is a negative to dating a people pleaser, and it's a big one, okay? It's that women who are people pleasers, oftentimes they're so focused on pleasing other people that they will not vocalize when they don't want to do a thing or when they're not happy with something. And that's a big thing because think of the number of women you've seen before be like, well, I was with this guy for like 10 years and I sacrificed myself and then I just decided I was just out of here, right? And the guy sitting there like, I had no idea she was even unhappy or that she thought she was doing too much or that she was sacrificing herself. But the reality is there are a lot of women out there that are people pleasers that won't vocalize that to you. They won't vocalize the time when maybe you asked them to do something and they didn't want to do it, or you had an opinion about something and she didn't agree with it, but she wanted to please you, so she didn't say a thing, right? And so I've been fortunate to date a variety of women that overall have been pretty eager to please me, I shall say. But part of my success with them has actually been being the guy that knows that they don't always want to do things that are being asked of them and knowing when to interject and when to pull back. What do I mean by that? What I mean is this, is that, here's the thing, but people-pleasing women, their biggest fear is that if they disagree with you or they're displeasing to you in some way, that you're going to leave them. And so it is to their detriment sometimes that they're overextending and overdoing things to please you in an attempt to keep you around. And again, that sometimes comes at the sacrifice of, but does she actually want to do these things, you know? And so I've had to be the guy in relationships that has said things like, hey, if you don't want to do this thing with me, that's totally fine. Or, hey, you know what? If you need your alone time, then you can go do your alone time. I don't need you always in front of me because I don't think that's fair. I think that we were both single before. And so just like sometimes I need my alone time as an introvert, I recognize you need your alone time. I've had times where I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, this is my opinion on this thing. What do you think? And they'll sit there like, well, I mean, I don't know. And I'll sit there and be like, wait, no, I want your honest, actual thought. Like, don't say the thing that's going to please me or that agrees with me if you don't agree. I want to know your legit thought. And so I say this because it's a weird balance as a guy to think that, you know, you want to find a woman that's going to be pleasing, but then there's also women out there that are pleasing you at times when it's not convenient for them. And so this is where it's good for you as a guy, one, to be more indifferent, and B, to not have your ego be the end-all be-all in a relationship. Because there's going to be times where you're going to have to look at this girl that is seemingly a people pleaser and tell her that it is okay for her to not always be pleasing. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm a guy in my relationship, I'm a guy that loves going to the movies. Almost every weekend, a movie comes out, I got an AMC pass. I done seen Wicked. I done seen Gladiator 2. I got a group of friends I go to the theater with religiously. Whenever a movie comes out, we watch the movies. Right now it's Christmas season, so I'm watching all the Christmas movies, right? Now, if I were with a woman that was not a fan of going to the movies, it would be very selfish of me to know that and then still be like, but she knows that she wants to please me, she's gonna go, so I'm gonna make her go, and then she'd be coming with me to all these movies, and maybe she'd have partially a good time because she wants to be around me, but over a period of 2, 3, 5 years, how many times is this woman now going to movies that she doesn't actually want to go to just to please me? And that's the kind of thing that will build resentment in a people pleaser, because on the one hand, and to be fair to you guys, they should get to a point where they can vocalize things they do or do not want to do. So if I'm with a woman and she doesn't want to go to the movies, I'd rather her say, hey, if you want to go to the movies, that's totally fine. I'm not a fan. My thing's always, as long as you're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do, you can do whatever. You can stay here, go with this and that, right? But you have to understand that maybe for whatever reason, there's been women that have gone through traumatic things with other guys that maybe did punish them for not always wanting to do the things, to where she's thinking, if I want to keep this guy, I got to keep doing stuff that I don't want to do because, yeah, he's going to sacrifice for me sometimes and whatever. And so learn to become the guy that's not so clingy to a woman to where she has to be around all the time, or that if she ever says no to you, that you're gonna be mad at it, and be the guy that's like, objectively, I know as much as we love each other, we're not gonna always have the same likes, the same thoughts, you're not gonna always wanna do the same things I wanna do, and that's totally fine. So I've had to tell women in my relationships, hey, you know what? I love going to the movies, and if you wanna go with me, or if you just have a specific genre you wanna see with me, that's fine. But if that's not your thing, again, as long as you're not stopping me from going, you can stay home, you know? If I'm gonna go eat a certain meal and she doesn't like that kind of food, hey, you know what? I will go pick up another kind of food for you, because as much as you wanna please me by saying, oh, I like Chinese food or whatever too, and you don't have to have that, you know? And I know it seems weird saying you should have to do that for her. And again, we want women to get to the point where they're actually able to verbalize that. But sometimes a woman needs to see from you first that you're not gonna be bothered by her not wanting to do a bunch of things before she's more comfortable saying, you know what, babe, I don't wanna go to the movies today. You just go and have a good time. Or, hey, you know, I was gonna do this thing, but I'm really kind of tired, but you go out, you know? Like, you need to get her comfortable with the idea that you know she's a people pleaser, but you're not trying to take advantage of that, you know? There have been times where, like, you know, when I first got to California, I didn't have a car, and I would date women that had cars, and they'd be like, oh, I'll drive an hour out from where I live to come pick you up to do some stuff. And sometimes I'd be like, hey, fantastic, we're gonna go on a date anyway, it is what it is. And then other times I'd be like, objectively, I appreciate the offer, but I know that's gonna cost you gas and it's gonna cost you time, and so I can catch the bus there, it is what it is, but hey, I still appreciate you. And come to find out, women appreciated that because they felt like with previous people, they had to be trapped and into doing these things that they didn't want to do because they thought they'd be punished for it. And so you don't ever want a woman to feel like she's going to get punished, or you're going to start like crying, or why don't you want to see me? Simply because she doesn't want to do one thing that you want to do out of the many other things that you guys do together as a couple, you know? So just be mindful. People pleasers, they're well-meaning. They're some of the best people you will date. Overall, they're pretty easy to get along with, but you have to keep a monitor also on, like, if you notice that she's been doing a little bit too much, you have to sometimes tell her, hey, it's okay to like not do the thing. I'm still gonna love you. It is what it is. So just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, because I've been thinking about it for days. Like, yes, people pleasers are great, and I used to be a people pleaser too. At one point in time, I was down to bend over backwards for any woman that needed whatever, and then kind of find out they didn't actually like that, because they did want a guy that had his own life, and they did want a guy that was able to say no to them sometimes, and I found that they also don't mind that either. So just some things to keep in mind. Okay. So we got a question in the chat here. I don't know how long this live's gonna go, but if you have a question you wanna ask me, I'd say ask it now and I'll be happy to get to it. Okay, so we have a question here, and this guy says, Coach, last night this girl I'm dating asked me, what are your boundaries in relationships? Hers are great, similar to mine, and though she didn't ask me to be the boyfriend, she said she's falling for me. I literally talk about this in the Get Girls Academy in a couple of my programs. And also, again, if you join the Academy and are emailing me back and forth, as well as I also have like twice a month coaching calls where we just get together and I answer you guys' questions about stuff that's going on with you so you can get some more clarity on your situations. You know, it's a really great academy altogether. But again, check that out at the website, harrywilmington.com. But yeah, so I talk about the fact that at the point that women start getting towards the point where they're ready for you to be the boyfriend, they'll start asking certain questions, especially questions that relate to being in a relationship. So this is why you as a guy should not be bringing up things like relationships early on in the dating process, because your barometer for where she's going to be at is when it goes from like, hey, what kind of date do you want to do, to, hey, so if you're in a relationship, what are your boundaries and what do you think about people in long-term relationships and long-distance relationships? When she starts bringing up the word relationship, that means the word relationship is on her brain as it pertains to you, which is why if you don't bring it up, you'll be able to see when she's ready for it by listening for things like this that let you know, oh, it's about to go down. I digress. So anyway, he says, she said she's falling for me more and more each time we hang out. I kept it chill and just let her talk. I know that maybe that's how she felt at the moment, but I thought I'd share that with you. And he was in my, so he was, I think he was, this is a guy, he was in my academy. He got some help from me. And then for now, he's not currently in the academy, which is also great. I'm always, again, you can always come back and forth whenever you need to, you know? But suffice to say, these are all good signs. So even though she's not yet said, hey, so what are we? These, what she's saying right now, are starting to be the feelers and the leading signs that she's starting to feel things. So let's see what she said, guys. Let's recap, right? She said, what are your boundaries in relationships? So she brought up the word relationship. She said, she's falling for me more and more each time we hang out. So understand, women speak in passive language. She's not gonna yet outright say, I love you, or I want a relationship, but her saying, I'm falling more and more is letting you know in advance, hey, my feelings are leading towards a relationship. And the reason she's saying that is because she's trying to prepare you. Because she's thinking, on the off chance this guy's not ready for a relationship yet, I need to start letting him know that I'm close to getting ready for one. So I'll just tell him I'm falling more and more for you. And that's going to lead to, in fact, I'll put money on it. Within the next 2 dates, you're either going to hear something like, so, you know, I know that I told you I'm falling for you, but I just want to know like where you're at. Or, so, you know, we've been going out for a while. Like, what do you think we are right now? Like, it's coming within the next like 2 dates. So even if you're not in the academy right now, write me when this happens. I just want to know when this actually happens because it's coming. Like if it hasn't happened yet, but you're doing the right stuff, it's coming real soon. But guys that are listening, these are examples of a few of the things that women will say that start to, if you're observant and you know what you're looking for, then you'll know that this is what this means. Now, this guy was part of my academy, and I have a program in there called Top Secret Dating Blueprint. And video 11 is talking about all the signs that girls will do that indicate they're about ready to be in a relationship. Now, if you haven't joined the academy or you haven't gotten coaching, you're not gonna know that. You're gonna be on a date and think, okay, she said she's falling more for me, but she didn't exactly say that she's ready for a relationship, so I don't know where she's at. And that could cause you to like jump the gun and start talking about your feelings, and the next thing you know, oh, she's lost her feelings. So this is why, again, it behooves you to consider getting coaching, because you can be miles ahead like this guy, or you can be far behind and not know what's going on. This guy also says, this is the same girl that I joked with when she said, you know, I'm only exclusive with you. And I said, we'll see. And I thought I ruined it, but I saved it. Yeah, because you were being sarcastic and snarky. And women find that playful. Women find not completely knowing your feelings to actually be attractive. Because it shows that you're not actually desperate to have to be with anybody, and you being desperate doesn't look good. Her being desperate and looking like she doesn't know stuff, totally fine. But you doing that, not good. So when you just kind of played it off, it actually is a very, very good thing that indicates that on some level, you're an even-headed guy. You're not taking this too seriously. You're indifferent. If she happens to want to stick around, great. But if not, maybe you have other people, maybe you don't. But either way, your world's not going to fall down if she's not your girlfriend. And that makes women want to fight for you more. And as I always say, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. So if she's coming to you, telling you about what boundaries are in a relationship, and I'm falling more and more for you, that sounds like she's chasing. And all you do when she chases is you just react accordingly. You don't overdo what she's doing, because as I've said before, women feel things 3 times more when you present them. So she's saying, I'm falling and falling more for you. If he were to say that, it would sound to her like you're darn near ready to marry her, and that's not what we want. That's why you as a guy can be more chill and a bit more passive when you're saying stuff back, and she'll read 3 times more into it. You know? And so that's what this guy's experiencing right now. He's experiencing the fact that he has a girl that's like this close to wanting to be in a relationship. Again, if and when this happens, please, please, please write me, because I'm collecting success stories. I already got the success story from the guy I talked about today that said that he's now got a girlfriend because she was all about telling them that we were in a relationship. It's amazing. So yeah, guys, when you get coaching, this is the kind of stuff that happens. This is what happens when you hire somebody that's able to look out for you and read your situation and give you feedback on what's going on so you don't mess it up, so you know the right way to move and you know how to actually get the girls that you want. Because these two situations, these are girls that showed up liking them, but there were some things along the way that they weren't aware of that I had to kind of say, okay, this is what's going on. Yes, she still likes you because of this. Yes, she's not dumping you because of this. Okay, this little thing happened here, but it's not totally over. Like, because they were able to get guidance from yours truly, they're now in a place where they're getting into relationships. They have girls telling them about their feelings instead of the guy thinking, I gotta tell her how I feel. I gotta let her know my truth so she knows that because that stuff never works. Women, as I say all the time, women don't care about your feelings. They only care about how they feel about you. And then once they feel a certain way about you, then they start to care about how you feel, at which point they will seek it out. It's all very simple. So hopefully, guys, this helps you guys out immensely. Thank you guys for tuning into today's show. Like I said, feel free to go to the website, harrywilmington.com, and consider signing up for the Get Girls Academy. You can see on the front page here, we have a video that kind of talks more about it. When you scroll down the page, you'll see even more information about the Get Girls Academy. And if you like what you see, we'd love to have you. It's a simple monthly fee. You can cancel at any time. And then if you don't want to do the full academy, you can sign up for one-on-one phone consultations where we'll get on a Zoom call, we'll shoot the crap, and we'll see what's what, you know? So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'm Harry Wilmington, and I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Harry Dating Convos. Don't forget to visit harrywilmington.com to download my free ebook, Texting Women Like a Boss. And while you're there, if you're ready to take things to the next level with your dating life, check out the Get Girls Academy membership program for exclusive strategies and live coaching. Go to harrywilmington.com to learn more and join today. Lastly, if you've got a question you'd like answered on one of these shows, leave a comment below or write me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.